Hello and welcome to another episode of Wicked Easy Cooking. Before we start, let me ask you a question. Do you hate tofu? Or at least think you hate tofu? Or maybe you love it? I'll have to be honest. When I was younger in my career, I didn't like it so much. And that's probably because, I wasn't aware of it, I didn't understand it, I didn't work with it as a product that much. But today, that's all changed. And today I'm going to show you a couple of wicked easy ways to prepare it. And then we're going to take that and turn it into some lettuce wraps. Awesome, delicious lettuce wraps. So let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to be working with tofu. What is tofu? Well, it's also known as bean curd, and it is a food prepared by coagulating soy milk. And then they press the resulting curds into a soft white block, and then the whey comes off. So as you can see in these pictures here, it's very similar to the way cheese is made when using milk. You take that, squeeze out the extra whey, pour it into some block form so more of that liquid can come out of it. And it's warm at this point, and then you let it set. And then over time, you'll pull it out depending on how thick or how firm you want those blocks. And then these blocks can be labeled and used. Now this block that ends up from it can be soft, can be firm, or it could be extra firm. So you're going to purchase the one depending on what you're going to do with it. So for example, soft or silken tofu would be good for things like salad dressings, desserts, or in smoothies. Whereas firm is great as a scrambled egg substitute in soups or in sandwiches. But today, we're going to be working with extra firm, an excellent choice for marinating, grilling, or for putting into stir fries because it holds together the best. It also has a very low calorie count, and has a relatively large amount of protein in it. So it's good for you. It's very nutritious, high in iron, can have a lot of calcium in it as well, or magnesium. So it's an excellent food from a health perspective, but it's also great for cooking with because it's so neutral. Think of it as like chicken. It takes on the flavors and has a lot of different applications depending on how you use it. It has a very subtle flavor and can be used in both savory and in sweet dishes. Now, you may not like tofu, but I think you're going to. But even if you don't, you may need to know how to work with this. You may have a customer, a friend, a family member that wants you to prepare this. So this would be a great informational piece that you to put into your repertoire that you can use anytime you're confronted with tofu. But I think our first recipe is wicked easy baked tofu. You'll see from the recipe that I'm going to post, you need about a block. 1.5 blocks of a firm, extra firm tofu. Now, this is organic, so you don't have to buy organic, but it's really cheap. I think this one was $3, $3.25, even cheaper if you don't get the organic one. So it's very economical, great way to stretch your shopping dollars. So you're going to use that. I'm going to have some tamari. I put on here a soy sauce. You can use either one. They're interchangeable. This is like a Japanese soy sauce. This one just doesn't have any wheat in it, so it can be gluten-free, but you could use both. For my other recipe, I'm going to use a Chinese soy sauce, so you'll get to see both applications. We're also going to put some garlic powder in there, and then some ground black pepper, okay? Also optional, I'm going to put it in, is liquid smoke. This is going to give it kind of a barbecue flavor, kind of a grilled flavor in there, but if you don't have it, don't have to use it. Easy to get at any grocery stores. They usually have it on the shelves. That's it. A couple of ingredients mixed together, poured over this block. So now let's chop this up. Okay, so we're just going to open this up, drain off the liquid that's in there, pull out our block, and that's it. And we're going to slice it up. Maybe 10 slices or so, about an inch, half an inch thick, so that's it. Cuts pretty easy. You can see just a bean curd. You pick it up, makes a little slice, extra firm on the back. We're going to lay that into some kind of, casserole dish so that we can marinate it. Plastic will work fine as well. I'm just going to lay these out in here, and Put one right in here. What did I get? 9 out of there, so perfect. Then I'm going to take my bowl here. As it says in the recipe, 1/4 cup of tamari or soy sauce. So that is 2 ounces. So we're going to have 4 tablespoons. You know, give or take, you don't have to be exact. It's just a marinade. Okay, then we're going to add in our garlic powder. The recipe says about a teaspoon in there. I got some fresh black pepper, about a 1/2 teaspoon, whatever you like. Don't need any salt, plenty in the soy or the tamari. Then I'm going to add the liquid smoke. Here, it's only about a 1/2 teaspoon. Smells just like campfire. Okay, mix that around. Make sure it's kind of dissolved, that garlic powder. And that's it. You could probably do this in a plastic bag as well. Just make sure it covers all of these. Okay, what I like to do is just tip them over and, kind of make sure it gets on both sides. And we're just going to put this into our refrigerator. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you can go up to a half an hour. That one's been marinating in the refrigerator. You can see the color change on the tofu, looking great. Now we're ready to bake it. Again, this is the quick one. Only takes 10 to 20 minutes of marinating. So I've got a pan here. I'm just going to hit it with a little spray. Make it easier when we're baking it. Then all you have to do is take these out and put them into our pan. And we're going to pop this into a 350 oven about 30 minutes. But at the halfway point, I'm going to turn these in the oven. Okay, after 30 minutes, they'll be done. And I'll show you those, and I'll give you some applications, ways that we can use that. Okay, be right back. Okay, our wicked easy baked tofu has been in the oven about 30 minutes. At about 15 minutes, I turned it. So we've got both sides here. And you can see it's nice and brown and golden on the edges. So this is good. What I'm going to do is put this onto a plate now. And then what we'll do is let this cool down. You could then freeze it if you'd like. Use it in any application that you want. Let it cool, chop it up, put it in a stir fry, in with some fried rice, in with some scrambled eggs, however you want to do it. There's a little piece here, I'm going to try it. Yeah, it's gotten the marinade, so it's got a good flavor. Let's make our second one. This one is the Asian barbecue that we're going to marinate a block of tofu in, and then we're going to pan fry it. So as you can see, we have our extra firm tofu. Again, we're going to use that 1 block. And then in our recipe, we've got some type of pepper. I'm using jalapeno. We want to open that up and take out the seeds and any membrane and take off the end. And we're just going to rough chop that. We're going to put some ginger into it. This is called a hand of ginger. Break it off, fresh ginger. This freezes well too, so I would get some. And we're going to be using in this one about 3 tablespoons. So it's very easy to peel this. You could use a peel, you could scrape it with a spoon. We're just going to rough chop it because everything's going to be put into our food processor. We also have 1/2 an onion that's already been rough chopped. We got about 5 cloves, of garlic. We're going to puree all of that up. Then we're going to heat up our sesame oil into a pan on our stove. Once that gets warm, we're going to put our onion mixture in there and let the flavors release. Okay, once that's done, we'll reduce our heat. We're going to add in our olive oil. We've got some honey. We've got molasses. And then we've got some brown sugar. We're going to let all that cook about 1/2 an hour. It's going to reduce down. That's our Asian barbecue sauce. Once that's cool, we're going to pour that over our sliced tofu that's in our pan and let that marinate a couple of hours. Take it out, and at that point, we can do anything we want with it. We're going to actually pan fry. We're going to do a quick pan fry on it and try that. So let's make that up right now. Okay, so I've removed the liquid that was in our block of firm tofu. I'm going to put that onto our cutting board. As it says, cut it into like 1-inch pieces, similar to what we did in our last recipe. So we'll cut these. Okay. Don't have to be too exact. Let's see, what did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Same as I got on the last block. Put those into our pan. Set off to the side here. All right, and put those in here as well. Ooh, make a little room here, squeeze it in. All right, so we have that sitting off to the side. Towel here. Now let's make our marinade. So we're going to take these peppers and just rough chop them up a little bit. I've already removed the seeds from them. We're going to put that into our food processor. Okay, then I've got about 3 tablespoons of fresh ginger that's been peeled and just rough chopped. I'll throw that in. Then we also have our onions. Put that in. And then our 5 garlic cloves. Get in there. Then we're just going to puree this up. Okay, our onion mixture is all pureed up. Now I'm going to take my sesame oil, put that into a pan here, heat it over medium heat just to warm that up. And then what we're going to do is take this onion mixture and put that into that sesame oil that is warmed up. And we're going to cook that to release the flavors from the garlic and the onions, and that ginger, have them all kind of marry in there before we go and add our honey and our molasses and our brown sugar. So let me do that right now. Okay, this has been cooking now for a minute or two, really releasing the flavors. That sesame oil smells wonderful. You can tell the garlic's been cooking down a little bit. So now we can reduce our heat to low and start adding in our other ingredients. So we have olive oil. Pour that in. We've got our honey. Okay, this is going to be our Asian barbecue sauce. We've got our molasses. This is all going to provide the thickeners as well as flavor and color for our sauce. And we've got our brown sugar. Okay, now we have everything incorporated. As it says in your recipe, we're going to put that back on the heat briefly just to let that sugar dissolve a little bit and let all those flavors blend. Okay, now a couple of minutes has passed. It's really thinned out a lot. That sugar has all dissolved. We can add in our soy sauce, stir that in. Now we're going to bring this up to a boil, reduce the heat once that happens, and then we're going to let it simmer about a half an hour. It's going to reduce, those flavors are going to blend a little bit. Then we're going to let it cool, pour it over our tofu, put it in the refrigerator a couple hours for this one. Really want it to absorb those flavors. And then afterwards, we're going to just do a quick pan fry on that, and we're going to serve it however we'd like. But I'm going to give you an option with lettuce wraps. Be right back. Okay, our marinade has cooked and it's cooled down, or at least enough so we can put it onto our tofu. You see we have that in a pan here. You just want to use enough to cover the tofu so that it all gets, flavored up and get some of that marinade on there, but no more, no extra. As you can see, it's pretty well covered there. Let me get that angle. So that's good. Now, what we're going to do is save this. This lasts for up to several weeks in your refrigerator. So I'm just going to put this away in the back. Goes great not only with tofu, but with chicken, fish, other items. So try this on other things. You went through the motion and the time and the resources to make this. Try it on other products. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Now this we're going to put into the refrigerator 2 to 3 hours. Okay, really want it to absorb this barbecue sauce, so it's not just on the surface, it's in the center of it. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how to pan fry it. Okay, be right back. Our tofu's been marinating for a couple of hours now. I pulled it out and I placed it on this plate. And as mentioned, make sure you save any of that reserved Asian barbecue marinade or sauce that you have extra from that pan. So how are you going to cook this today? Well, as your recipe says, we're just going to pan sear it, right? We're going to pan fry it, get it nice and crisp and brown on each edge. But you could certainly cube this up, use it in stir fries, mix it with some rice, scrambled eggs, fried rice, whatever you'd like. But let's go ahead and sear that. So this is a non-stick pan, but I'm still going to add a little bit of oil in there. Okay, been heating up, medium heat. We're going to add a couple of these in there. You hear it nice and sizzling. Put that on the heat, minute or so on each side. Flip it, pull it out. We're going to plate it up, serve it with a little extra sauce in there as our, sauce marinade to put over it. Okay, let's take those and flip them over already. They're getting nice and golden brown. Move this out of our way. Get our plate ready. You can see there's our tofu. Look at how seared and brown that is. Okay, put that on there. Put a little bit of our sauce in our pan. Heat that up. Bring it up to temp. Get some bubbly. There it is. Okay, clean up our rim there from the splatters. And now we got to try it. Marinated tofu, Asian barbecue sauce. Excellent. Easy to try. Okay, what's some other things we can do with our tofu that we've just made? Well, as mentioned, lots of options. I'm going to show you a quick stir fry. Now this is the baked tofu. And you can see it's nice and hard already because it's been baked, which is fine. Then we have our marinated Asian barbecue sauce here, which hasn't been cooked yet. Either one is fine. What you'll do is just cube them up, or make them into slices if you'd like. Whatever works for you. I'm going to make it kind of small dices on this one. And that's our baked. And then we have the other one, which we haven't even cooked yet, which is fine. So, need to make something quick at night. How about a stir fry? I've got celery, carrots, broccoli, some peppers, and some sugar snap peas here. But you could have onions, you could put in asparagus chips, anything you want, as well as season any way you want. But I'm going to show you how quick this is. If you have this tofu on hand, even if it's frozen, you need a quick dinner idea, a quick luncheon, something maybe to take to work with you. You have some vegetables on hand. Just take a pan, put a little bit of oil in there. You can put any type in there, and then just saute up your vegetables. Now I'm going to do it in order of their hardness or density. So we're going to start with our carrots and our celery. And then I'm going to add in lastly the broccoli, the peppers, and the sugar snap peas. And then maybe a little bit of liquid in there to steam it. And finally with our tofu. So come right back. Okay, I've got all my vegetables in here now. They're pretty well, sauteed, good, about halfway cooked. Now's our time to add in any of our savory items, any of our flavor points. For example, here's a little bit of garlic. If you like garlic, put it in as much as you'd like. Maybe a little bit of grated fresh ginger. That's wonderful. All right, then we can add in any of our liquids that we want. I have some tamari here if you'd like, the soy sauce. Put a couple of drops of that in. Maybe you want a little bit of sesame oil, which will add a nice flavor to it. Again, stir fry, totally up to you, whatever you'd like in it. And then I have a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of onion powder. You could use garlic powder, you could use anything you want. Powdered ginger if you didn't have it. Put it back on the heat, bring it up to temp, and I'm going to add in our chopped up tofu now. I would just want to give that some heat to it. Remember one of them was already baked and cooked. And then we're going to just serve it up. I have a plate here with just some white rice on it. You can use brown rice, fried rice, whatever you'd like, just to add that in. And then bring it up to temp. And then you could finish it. I have a little bit of chopped parsley here, which add a nice color to it. And then maybe some scallions, green onions that have been chopped. If you'd like, again, totally up to you. Your stir fry. Okay, and then at that point, you got a meal for 2-3 people there. Maybe have for dinner and take it the next day to work with you. Put this on here. We got our nice tofu in there. All those bright colors. Stir fry with some white rice. Nice, low calorie, packed with protein meal for you. Hope you try this one at home too. Okay, now I have one last recipe for you. Bonus recipe. All right, we're going to make lettuce wraps. Easy to do, healthy, fast, nutritious. Everybody likes them. So I'm going to show you that right now and give you some options as we go through. Just like all the other recipes, I'll post it at the end of this video. It's wicked easy vegetarian lettuce wraps. Doesn't have to be vegetarian. You can substitute out the tofu Okay, and then put in anything you want. You could put in some ground pork, ground beef, whatever, little shrimp, anything you'd like to put in there. All right, so as you'll see here, we're going to make a little bit of a sauce for us. This is the key part when we put it in our lettuce wrap, gives it that traditional flavor. So we have hoisin sauce here. The recipe says about 3 tablespoons. We've got, some soy sauce or tamari sauce we're going to put in there. Then we have rice vinegar. This is excellent. It's going to be kind of sweet flavor to it. Give it that little perk, that little vinegar flavor. And then we have sesame seed oil. Okay, it's already been toasted. Now we're going to mix all of these up, ingredients, and that's going to be put off to the side once it's mixed well. And that's going to be our sauce that we're going to put into our pan once we get all of our other ingredients sauteed. So again, this is a pretty quick recipe. Most of the work is doing all your prep. So you could do this in advance, and then once you're ready to assemble for dinner, it's pretty quick. All right, so let's put that off to the side. And then you'll see your next step is if you're going to use tofu from its raw state, just came right out of the water, press it dry, and then you're going to maybe cut it up, and you're going to add this to the pan and crumble it. You can certainly do that. But if you already have some tofu from our previous recipes that you have in the freezer and your refrigerator, it's already been marinated, may have already been baked, fine. Just cube that up. That's what I'm going to use right now. Okay, we have our oil that we're going to put in our pan. Then we have our tofu, either unmarinated, uncooked, or cooked and marinated, either way. And then we're going to put in some mushrooms. And you can put in any type you want. I happen to have little baby portobellos, like a cremini mushroom, but I'll put in the recipe common mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, whatever you want. And the key is to chop them up really small, dice them up, just like you would with your tofu. And this is going to be the bulk of our filling. If you wanted to use pork, you could cube up some small, maybe have some leftover pork chops, cube them up, or some chicken, or ground beef, whatever you'd like in there. All right, and then we're going to hit it with, we've got water chestnuts. This is what gives it the crunch. Buy these in a little 8-ounce can. Again, dice those up too. Oftentimes they'll come sliced. You just got to chop them up. We've got garlic, ginger, red pepper flakes. If you like it spicy, you control this. You could totally admit it, or you could add those in. It's up to you. Then I've got some green onion scallions we're going to add in there. And then optional, I'm going to put carrots. Anytime I can get vegetables into a dish, especially for my kids, I'm going to add it in. But I also think that adds color. So I'll put that in as an option. And lastly, we have our lettuce leaves. Okay, I'm going to use romaine, hearts of romaine. I've already cut them and washed them. There's going to be like little boats that we'll eat. But you could use butter lettuce, bib lettuce, like those little cups, anything you want. So let's get started on this. So as you'll see in here in our recipe, you're going to take this pan, you're going to add in your oil. All right, get that up to, medium heat, it says here in your steps. And then we're going to take our tofu, if it's raw, and crumble it up in there. I'm going to add this cooked one. And I'm going to add that for a few seconds just to give it a stir. Okay, give it a stir. And since this is already our cooked version, I don't need it to go as long as if I was using it, right from the refrigerator, the raw state. So I'm going to add my mushrooms now. Okay, my diced mushrooms. Put that in there. Again, give this a stir. We want it to, dry out, both of these. The mushrooms will release their liquid, and they'll start getting, a little bit smaller, a little bit more firmer, which is, again, going to be the base for our lettuce leaves. So let's cook those around, let them sweat out about 5 minutes or so, and then we can add our other ingredients. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes. So you can see, maybe you can get that in the camera there. You can see it's all starting to get caramelized. The mushrooms have released their liquid. They've dried out, sticking a little bit to the bottom of the pan, which is excellent. You don't want it burnt, but that brown stuff, call that fond, is going to be released when we add the liquid. And that's going to add to our sauce, that caramelization, that cooked flavor. Okay, so now we can start adding in our other ingredients. So I have the water chestnuts that are all chopped up. And that has a lot of liquid in it too, even though it's been drained. So that's going to start the deglazing process on the bottom of our pan, which is good. And those are going to provide the crunch. So we don't really need to cook them that much. We just want to heat them up. But that's going to be our crunch factor. Think of it like an apple. It's good crunch in there. Then we're going to add in our garlic. Okay? grated ginger. Red pepper flakes, again, I gotta be careful with those because of my family, but you go wild if you want. I'm gonna put in about half or so, maybe 3/4 of the green onions, the scallions. I'm gonna save a little bit for garnish that I can sprinkle on the outside. And since I've chose to add carrots, this is a good time to do that too. So I add those carrots in there, and now we're gonna just give that a stir to incorporate it for about, a minute, 30 seconds or so. Try to scrape up some of that caramelization on the bottom of the pan too. It's gonna be the base for our, flavor profile when we add our sauce. Okay, and this is all gonna be nice and crunchy, a lot of flavor in there, a lot of colors. You can smell the garlic already and the ginger. It's really fragrant. It's adding a lot to this dish. Okay, so you can see it's all incorporated. Garlic, I can tell, is not going to overcook and turn bitter. It's just starting to release its flavor and be fragrant. Okay, at that point, we can add our sauce. So give it one last little stir. Throw that in there. Scrape down our pan. And then we're going to just stir all of that in. This hoisin is really going to provide some depth to the dish, which is classic. I can smell the sesame oil already. Obviously the soy sauce is going to add our salt and a good umami flavor to it. And then we have our vinegar, which will complement it out, round out those different flavors. Now, I've also have a little bit of chopped parsley here because I think the green helps it pop, goes along with those scallions. So I'm going to add a little bit of that in, but you don't have to, as mentioned. Okay, we are done. Let's plate this up. Okay, so we have our dishes all ready. Now, one way you could serve this is family style. Put this in a bowl, have your lettuce leaves on a plate, bowl of rice and side items, whatever you're going to be serving with this, and just have everybody dig in and make their own. Or if you want to be a little bit more fancier, if it's just for yourself, you could plate it up individually. So here again, I just have white rice on here. It could be brown rice, fried rice, whatever you'd like, and I put a couple of leeks. Now we're just going to take some of this filling and go down the middle of it like a little boat. Fill them as much as you want. It's got to be manageable, but you do want to give them lots of that filling in there. All right, so you can see here I've got it filled up, the romaine, like a little romaine canoe. All right, it's got the filling inside of it, and serve it just like that. That's good. So, whether you like tofu, or think you don't like tofu, or think you do like tofu, I encourage you to try this recipe. Worst case, you'll have it in your repertoire in case you ever have to work with it. Or use it as a supplement. Use the tofu and then add some pork, or add some chicken, or add some ground beef, or something else into it. But I think the flavor profile, the nutrition value, how quick it is, how cheap it is, I think it's a great option for anybody. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you stay tuned and watch for our future episodes. If you haven't subscribed yet, love you to do that and hit the like button. All right, bye-bye now.